So this video is to show you how to properly meter and expose for someone outdoors. It's best to have them backlit. If they're looking into the sun, generally most people will be squinting and it can create really harsh shadows on the face. So I took a model friend of mine, Jamia, out to this dry lake bed to demonstrate this. So I'm going to start off with her back to the sun.
So this is the way we usually shoot people with them backlit. So have her turn her head back. See when it comes this way, she picks up a little light in your face. You don't want to have that because it's going to be too much of a contrast. She would come back this way. What's nice, she has this beautiful red hair, so that light picks up and kind of really accentuates it. But here's the problem you get into. All right, so if I'm on evaluated metering or matrix metering or multi-metering, depending on your camera, and I try and take a picture of her like this, and I zero my meter out, it's saying 2/50th at 5.6. Well, what it's doing, it's reading all this area around her. And if you look, her face is dark because there's no sun in it. So the easiest way to do that is you can put your camera on a single spot metering where it just reads her face, or I can come in real close. This is what I usually do, is I'll come in here like this, set my meter. This is why I never wear sunglasses when I shoot, because I can't see the meter. And so I set the meter on 0 when I get in there, and it's bright out here because this is the dry lake bed, and the light's kind of reflecting up from it. So this is actually it's December 12th, and it's hot.
Yeah.
It is hot. So now once I have the meter set on her up there and I don't change anything, it's still reading her. Now my meter right now says I'm way off, but I know that I'm right. I got a good picture, and then the problem I have now is the background's kind of blown out. So there's ways of getting around that. If you have a pop-up flash, you just have to put that up and it'll do that. These more pro-level cameras don't have pop-up flashes. So I'll show you what we do instead. So I put this external flash on here, and so now I have two light sources. I have this light that's coming in, but this light's very flat, and it can be flattering, but it doesn't have a lot of punch to it. So I usually like to put a little bit of flash into it, but you don't want to put too much in because then it starts looking phony. So now there's two light sources, this light here, and then this. So let's see what we get with this. Gorgeous. So what I'm trying to do is bring the level of light up here to match that in the background, but this is very bright, so with this external flash I can control it, which you can on your pop-ups too. There's a flash exposure compensation, which Jamia could tell you all about because she's taken this class 6 times.
So while we were out on the playa, Jamia brought a few dresses along that she wanted me to photograph her in. And I can't think of a better way to spend a beautiful day out in the middle of the desert photographing a beautiful woman. So I said, okay. So this is kind of how we would do it on a regular shoot. You notice there's, doing something like this, I wouldn't be using my flash on camera because it doesn't recycle fast enough for one thing, and it's not enough power to do what I really want to do. So I've set this light up here. It's called a beauty dish. It kind of simulates sunlight, gives a similar look to it. And I have a battery-powered strobe on there and the remote control from my camera to it. And so this is kind of how we work.
Bring that leg around a little bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Want to walk towards me? Hang on a second. Actually, go back some and come. Those ones we did at the school were really kind of cool.
Yeah.
So here I'm getting ready to have her walking towards me. And in order to do that, to have the camera focus properly, I have to switch from the one-shot focus, autofocus that I was on to the continuous focusing mode. This way, as she walks, the camera will follow and track her and continually focus on her.
We don't want to be in one shot, do we? If you're moving. How's servo? Nice servo. Where are we going? All right. Okay, now just from there, bring that one leg like you're walking towards me. Okay. Don't fall. You want to walk?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Yep. Very slowly.
Okay.
So on this day, there was absolutely no breeze out here in the desert, which is kind of rare. So I brought along my leaf blower, yard blower, very powerful one, battery operated. And it's kind of good because you can really direct where you want it. So if you don't want the hair to blow, you can blow it on the dress. But on gowns, it always kind of looks good if they're flowing. So what I do is I put my camera, it has a Wi-Fi in it, so I can actually fire my camera from my iPhone. So I have my iPhone in one hand and the blower in the other, and can take the pictures while I'm doing two things at once. This is really handy when you don't have an assistant or a stylist with you. So what did we learn here? If you're photographing people outside, your meter can really lead you astray. Now, we generally don't want to have people looking into the sun. Some people can get away with it, but for the most part, they're going to squint, and they're also going to get bad shadows under their eyes. So it's best to have people backlit, if possible. And when doing so, you want to read their face. So in other words, if you're taking the meter reading with your camera, the camera's reading the overall picture. So if they're backlit, there's no sunlight on the subject, the camera is going to expose for the background, and they're going to go dark. Now, so you can put your camera on a spot meter reading and just read their face. But what I find quicker and easier is basically leave my camera where it is. I usually keep it on evaluative metering for Canon. Nikon calls it matrix metering, and other manufacturers like Sony, Pentax, and them call it multi-segmental reading or something, multi-reading. That's generally it's probably the most sophisticated and the easiest to use and better all around. But what I can do then is I just go close to the subject and just basically read the light on their face, and that way I'm exposing for their face. And I'm in a manual mode, so when I step back, unless I change any of those settings, it all remains the same. Now my meter now, when I back off, it's going to say, boy, you're way off, man. But I know that it's exposing for what I want it to. Now if you have a very dark skinned person, that could present a problem because it's going to try and make black things gray and white things gray. So if they're very dark skinned, it's going to overexpose them and they're going to kind of become a gray hue to them. If they're very, very pale, then it's going to try and underexpose them and then go darker. So you have to look at these things, look at it on your monitor, and compensate for it until you get exactly what you want. Look at your histogram, but that could throw you off because the background is going to be hotter. If you want to bring the light level up on the subject so that the background isn't as blown out, then you need to use the flash. Pop-up flash is very good for this. Just be careful not to overdo it because it starts looking kind of phony. But there's on the cameras that have pop-up flashes, there is a flash exposure compensation. You can go into your menu and see it, and you can actually decrease or increase the output of that strobe So look at the image and see if it looks too blown out, doesn't look real, then you'd back it off. If it seems like it needs a little bit more, then you increase it. And this is always good because it gives a catch light in the eye, which gives a little more punch to the photograph. Have fun photographing outside. It's a lot of fun. It's a little harder, it's challenging, but it is fun.